January 29th, 2017. A girl in a yellow fur coat hits publish on a song the internet doesn't have a category for. 20 minutes to write, 20 hours to 1 million views, and a language the algorithm can't name.
I slept for a few hours, and when I woke up, it was 1 million views instant, all organic good.
But here's what the numbers don't tell you. How do you go from invisible to unforgettable? And what does it cost when the world finally sees you? This is the story of Karencitta, and it starts long before the song. Born in Sydney, raised in Cebu. Parents thousands of miles away in Los Angeles working as caregivers. 11 years of separation so she could finish school. Music wasn't a backup plan.
Nung nasa baby crib pa lang ako, I was already humming na daw.
But when you grow up with that kind of distance, you learn early. Either you find your voice, or you disappear. By the time she made it to LA, she was ready. Penn State student by day, background extra by night. Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, waiting tables, waiting for auditions, waiting for someone to see her. And that's when the math changed. Not because Hollywood opened its doors, because she realized she was knocking on the wrong ones. X Factor boot camp? Rejected. Miss Saigon audition? Failed. She could have quit. She didn't. She pivoted. What happens when a failed actress, a nursing school dropout, and a Grammy-winning producer walk into a studio? Enter John Inglesby, Grammy-winning producer, the mentor who saw something the industry missed. Together, they founded Yellowbird Records. But Karencitta knew one thing the industry didn't. You can't sound like everyone else and expect to be heard.
How do I stand out? There's a lot of ballad singers, but I don't want to be like them. I want to have my own lane.
So while other artists were chasing record deals, she was building a fan base. Comedy skits, 500,000 followers before she ever dropped a single song. The music industry calls it strategy. She calls it survival.
My comedy skits is just a strategy of building a fan base.
And when it was time to record, she didn't second-guess herself. November 2016, she sat down and wrote Cebuana in 20 minutes. But she didn't just write a song, she built a ritual. A Santo Niño statue beside her studio speakers. A release date timed to Sinulog Festival. A Bisaya chorus when everyone told her to write in Tagalog. She insisted. She convinced them. She won. January 29th, 2017, she hit publish. Went to sleep. Woke up to a world that had changed overnight. She was documenting pain while spreading positivity. That contradiction became her superpower. Success is deceptive. The tables turned, yes. The labels started chasing her.
When we had that one-hit song, Cebuana, I didn't have to do the chasing anymore. They chased me.
But the work didn't get easier. The pressure doubled. She was in the same building, she said, just on a different floor. And the view from up there? Overwhelming. Because while the world was celebrating her breakthrough, she was carrying something heavier. Her brother. In and out of rehab. In and out of jail. Gang violence she saw up close, before most people her age knew what violence looked like. She could have hidden it. She could have sanitized her story for the press. Instead, she wrote it into her songs. Bam Bam Bam, her brother's story, the pain of home, the price of survival. But even as she documented the darkness, she refused to let it define her. Clean lifestyle, family grounding, a deliberate distance from the chaos of the industry. And when the producers pushed back on her language, on her culture, on the very thing that made her different, she didn't apologize. She weaponized it. She asked if she could write in Bisaya. They didn't even know what it was. They said yes anyway. She called it her leverage. The industry called it a risk. History called it a revolution. International production, regional language, diaspora identity, the formula nobody thought would work. Listen to Cebuana closely. It's not just a song, it's a blueprint. Austrian producer TC5 on violin, Sinulog rhythms in the percussion, English verses for the diaspora, Cebuano chorus for the homeland, code switching as a political act, a love letter disguised as a pop song. And the yellow? The fur coat, the visuals, the brand, that wasn't aesthetic. That was intentional, bright, free-spirited, Cebuano to the core. But as her catalog grew, so did her complexity. No Apology was her response to the one-hit wonder accusations. Sixth Sense explored connection. The work matured. She matured. Then the pandemic hit. 2 years off-grid. A forced pause. A recalibration. She came back different. Married. Grounded. Karencitta 2.0.
The best way to describe my marriage is gravity. He really gravitates me towards the ground, and he gives me those wake-up calls, reality checks.
And that's when she understood something the industry still doesn't get. You don't need to compromise who you are to be successful. You just need to find the people who understand your language. She didn't just go viral. She created a genre. Pre-Cebuana, Filipino hip-hop was underground, regional, invisible to the mainstream. Post-Cebuana, OPM had international leverage. Her songs played in the US, Japan, Korea, and she knew exactly what she had done. She didn't just break through, she kicked the door open, and she held it open for everyone behind her. Now, at the height of her career, she's doing something the industry didn't teach her, passing the torch.
When I look at Zay and Tiffany Lay, I see myself. And it makes me emotional thinking about it because I know exactly what it's like to be in their position, and it's so essential to have that mentor.
Because she remembers. She remembers being the girl no one believed in. She remembers the auditions that went nowhere. She remembers being told her language wasn't marketable. So she built something for the ones who came after her. La Liga Armo, a clothing brand designed to provide jobs for the people in the slums of Lorega, her neighborhood, her roots. It's not charity, it's investment. It's proof that success isn't just about leaving, it's about returning. It's about building the infrastructure so the next generation doesn't have to fight the same battles. Karencitta's story isn't about luck. It's about what happens when someone refuses to shrink themselves to fit an industry's expectations. She was told to code switch. She code switched intentionally, weaponizing her culture instead of abandoning it. She was told she was a one-hit wonder. She responded with defiance. She was told diaspora kids had to choose roots or wings. She chose both.
Leave a legacy of authenticity. You don't have to change who you are to be successful. Just be yourself, stick to your roots, stay humble, and the world will find you.
And in doing so, she didn't just become a successful artist. She became permission. Permission for a generation of Bisaya speakers, diaspora kids, and regional artists to stop apologizing for who they were, to stop waiting for validation, to stop asking if their authenticity was marketable. She proved it was. More than that, she proved it was the only thing that mattered. Because the world doesn't need another version of you. It needs the version that won't apologize, the version that speaks in your mother tongue, the version that refuses to fit the mold. And when you do that, when you stand alone in who you are, that's when the world finally listens.